Welcome everybody, thank you for joining us today. I hope we are all doing well with our new normal at the moment. Today I'm here with Ambi, who is a security specialist at CQR. She specialises in business continuity and incident management, which is a very topical subject at the moment with the global pandemic that we are all experiencing and having to find a new normal within our businesses. Could you give us an overview of yourself and what you'll be doing today?
Sure. Thanks, Amy. Hi, everyone. I'm Ambi. I'm a security specialist at CQR, and I've been working in business continuity for a few years now. In that time, I found this field to be really rewarding. Unfortunately, you're not the most popular person when you're the one that's asking the question, oh, what if this goes wrong? And how do we avoid this? But nonetheless, I love it. So I guess business continuity planning is about creating those systems of prevention and recovery to deal with potential threats to an organisation. And I guess resilience, another buzzword, that goes hand in hand, and that helps organisations to recover quickly from difficulties and still function. So obviously it's very paramount in the current climate. Business continuity in many discussions in the past has only really focused on disasters that look at buildings, severe weather disruptions, and more recently data breaches. But obviously pandemics are a reality. And in research of 30 countries, it's shown that there's 600,000 undiscovered pathogens. So, the struggle is real. We are living in a business continuity incident as we speak, and how well we recover depends entirely on how well we've prepared. So hopefully after this session, you'll have a better appreciation for business continuity and why you need it for your organisation.
So the key takeaways for our session today will be understanding the impacts of COVID-19 so far, so the economic, cultural and social impact, what will the new normal look like going forwards, and how can we prepare our organisation for the new normal. So, Ambi, could you take us from the top and understanding the COVID-19 impact so far?
Okay, sure. So for a long time, there have been businesses who haven't really given thought to whether they'd be affected by a pandemic. And then along came coronavirus. And that was first detected in China, and it's since infected 185 countries. As a result, left businesses in hardship. So the travel industry has been severely damaged, with airlines cutting flights and customers cancelling business trips and holidays. I think a lot of us can appreciate our holidays being cancelled and how devastating that is. So governments have introduced travel restrictions in an attempt to contain this virus. So the US have banned from Europe, and Europe have also stopped people from coming from the outside. So this has led to people not being able to move around the world, and it's affected corporate events and sales opportunities. Supply chains that have been interrupted and a halt in production. So supply chains have been interrupted, and there's also been a halt in production. So China, being the largest exporter of goods, has really felt a hit in production. Companies such as JCB and Nissan have found that the restrictions have affected their supply chain. So sales of cars in China have dropped by almost 50% since the outbreak. There's also been an effect on the global economy, obviously. There have been huge falls in the stock markets of the UK, the US and Japan. Banks are cutting interest rates since investors are fearing that outbreak will destroy economic growth, and that the government intervention is not going to be enough to stop that decline. The supply and demand have evolved, so the demand for oil has halted since lockdowns are obviously keeping people indoors. More people are shopping online, cash flow has stalled, projects have been cancelled, shops and leisure centres are not being used. So this has obviously resulted in unemployment being on the rise in a number of countries, and there's now this risk of recession since the economic growth has slowed right down and there are fewer jobs. Obviously, many of us are working from home following the government guidelines, and so shares in tech companies such as Zoom have shot up because more people are relying on video calls and emails to communicate and get things done. There's been an increased demand on online shopping, so there's no surprise that shares in Amazon have rocketed. And also there have been increases in shares of Netflix, because obviously what else is there to do other than to catch up on your box sets? So
moving forward, what do you think the new normal will look like for us?
Okay, so over the past few weeks, we've seen business continuity at its best. At the start of the COVID-19 outbreak, well-prepared organisations, including us at CQR and many of our clients, had already agreed priorities so that we knew how to continue and keep our operations creating value. So this allowed for this seamless transition to work in alternative ways, so home working, for example. Since COVID-19, we've seen increasing cases and fatalities, and we're being warned that the economy will still be unstable for over a year. So it might not seem like the right time to be thinking about how to leverage a competitive advantage, but this is exactly what organizations need to be doing right now. Oh, thanks, Dominic. Being resilient as an organization means being able to absorb and adapt to survive and prosper. So in order to avoid a severe and long-term economic recession, organizations need to make sure that they can not only survive the current situation, but are well positioned for the environment that emerges. So this new term, new normal, was originally coined to explain that social distancing measures will remain for some time, but what else can we expect to see? So there's obviously going to be a rapid acceleration of digitalization. That's a hard word to say. The vast majority of digital transformations have been driven by a need to cut costs and increase IT reliability. So keeping that business outcome and process essentially the same, but like moving it digitally. So that could include, for example, newspapers who have gone to online news websites, or for example, storing your contracts digitally rather than in a filing cabinet. But digitalization goes a bit further, and it basically involves doing completely different things with the facilitation of technology. So for example, working and meeting remotely and e-commerce. So businesses really need to look at their process and adapt them to cope better in situations such as the ones that we're experiencing right now. So working from home, it's not everyone's favorite. Since we're all obviously social animals and we rely on cooperation, so having people in one place facilitates that and similar activities, so management, social interaction, that ability to foster mutual trust and to be able to transfer information. But because we are having to carry out social distancing strategies because of coronavirus, it's forced people to work from home, and it's seen this explosion of virtual meetings, either at work or at home, to share knowledge and just make connections. Organizations as well may want to look at enabling work from where you are, so restricting or avoiding the need to travel. And this will mean that technology and the support that's required will need to change. So obviously any changes in IT and infrastructure will mean implications for data security and privacy. So that's obviously something that we need to look at. It's unlikely that people and businesses alike will want to return to that pre-coronavirus pattern of working, because we are now experiencing an enhanced work-life balance. There's a reduced carbon footprint. There's obviously increased collaboration because we're being forced to innovate with digitalization. So this is going to open up new opportunities that could transform businesses where those travel restrictions and closures have basically accelerated a move to online delivery. Moving on, another aspect would be supply chain. So COVID-19 has brought focus into the dangers of relying heavily or solely on factories localized in single countries. So for example, China is this base of choice when it comes to sectors such as big data, cloud computing, renewable energy, and it represents something like 16% of the world's GDP. But a lot of global companies are unaware of all the locations and companies that are within this extended supply chain. So therefore, they're unaware of what their risk exposure is. During this pandemic, at one point, I think the Chinese government quarantined approximately 50% of the population. So obviously that's going to have a negative impact on the rest of the world. I guess resilient organizations will find this way to mitigate that negative impact. And so we'll probably see an upsurge of manufacturing throughout the world, which, although largely positive, will obviously affect China's economy quite hard. Public health awareness. So we're obviously going to see, and we are seeing right now, an increase in public health awareness and that civic responsibility. So if we compare it to the SARS outbreak in 2003, Hong Kong was at the center of that, and that traumatic experience has resulted in some long-term behavioral changes. So now surgical masks are the norm. People are using tissues to open doors, and there's this disinfection regime of public places, and it's carefully maintained and widely communicated. So unlike SARS, this COVID-19 is obviously on a global scale. Sorry, getting my words mixed up. On a global scale. So that suggests that the types of changes that we saw in Hong Kong are going to be on a global scale. And there are some associated business adaptations that have taken place in Hong Kong that are obviously going to take, be carried out on a global scale. Businesses also need to be prepared for regulations to change rapidly. Experiences in China and Italy have shown if initial easing measures have a negative impact, then they will be reversed and rethought. So at the moment now, we're just kind of relaxing our lockdown measures. But if those cases go up and the NHS are not able to cope, the restrictions are going to go right back down. So is our business able to kind of cope with those changes, those very short-term or quick changes, should I say? Many of our clients are facing social distancing rules set down by government. So we have global clients, and especially in America, where these guidelines are being set state by state. So it's different things even within a country. And they are mandating a maximum number of staff being allowed in a building, and also they're stating that furniture should be rearranged so that people are not they're not closer than 2 meters from each other. I guess this is just an opportunity for businesses to redesign their future. And I guess living through a disaster as we have recently will change what people really value. I guess it's unlikely to be a normal again. And instead we need to just prepare to be in a constant state of change. So be able to change flexibly and adapt quickly.
So preparing for the new normal as an organisation, what are the things that we should be looking to implement, to act on now, that isn't too late to plan for the future? So
I guess looking at the slide there, the first thing that I would touch on is on a business's ability to survive. So all businesses are going to need to deal with reduced staff numbers, supply shortages, and reduced demand due to those government restrictions that have been designed to preserve life. So any business continuity planning that's been done so far will provide this great foundation, but now managers need to become a bit more agile. They need to be empowered to make those strategic decisions with the support of relevant and up-to-date information, because those decisions will need to be quick. Going forward, we'll need to take business continuity more seriously than before. So when we do get to this normal that we're talking about, we need to be thinking about if this happens again or when this happens again. So really taking that seriously, prioritizing meetings with stakeholders, planning for that next disruptive incident, whether it be a pandemic or anything else, and then testing and exercising those plans. Understanding how your business works. And I guess what I mean by that is understand it in detail. So in business continuity, there is a step known as the business impact analysis. And that is about analysing the priority activities and the impact of a disruption on them. So that's a good start. And what you need to do is to expand all the activities and dependencies and really dig down into the supply chain and also into the demand. So those results will be really useful when you're mapping those changes that are required for the new normal when that emerges. So I've put collaborate. So I guess these, in order to work this out, it doesn't just lie within the C-suite. You've got experts within your business. So have regular meetings with them, key people in your team, as well as your supply base and customer representatives, where you can pull these ideas and with other businesses and create those joint opportunities. I guess, all ideas are good ideas. And then the last thing, I guess, is planning for success. Really, in order to prioritize this, set up a team within your business that's going to have that sole responsibility to optimize the business post COVID-19. It's going to be that person that unfortunately will think about, well, what if this happens? What if that happens? And bring those kind of issues to light.
So how do CQR help? How do you help organisations with their business continuity and management plan for incidents?
I guess what's different for CQR is, this is what we do as part of our business. So I guess before COVID-19, this is what we were supporting our businesses with. So CQR can develop and implement a full business continuity program. And what that is, what that can do is to help build customers' confidence in you as a business. It can help build it in your employees. It will provide you with valuable business data. It will protect your supply chain. It will help mitigate financial risk. And obviously it can literally help you save lives. So our clients that have got a strong continuity program have realized a number of benefits as well as these. And that's providing this competitive advantage and also cultivating that resilient organizational culture where business continuity concepts are applied automatically. The ISO certification. So with our expertise, we can implement this into your organization, and that gives you that assurance that you comply with industry standards, and it proves to your stakeholders that you are running your business responsibly. Certainly I've been involved with a lot of tenders where the need to show alliance to these ISO standards is the reason which we have won certain tenders. So it's something to bear in mind. CQR have provided cost-effective solutions to a number of our clients, and I think we provide a pragmatic approach. So we tailor our solutions to any business and in any sector. We also have supported our clients in delivering awareness sessions, and that goes to your chief execs, to your frontline staff, and we're able to tailor that. I think this is our bread and butter. This is what we love and what we enjoy. And so I think that comes through when we are carrying out our awareness sessions. And then again, lastly, we can also act as a business continuity manager for you, and we do so with a number of our clients. We facilitate incident management teams, and we help them make the right decisions for the business while considering, their respective government guidelines, and also the products and services that, keep their business going. So yeah, I guess that's what we can do for you.